Paper 2, Crime and Deviance for AQA GCSE Sociology. Again, the document that goes with this is available on the Google Classroom. If you can't find it, please email me, or I can email you a copy directly if you need one. Use that to make your notes, or if you prefer, like some of you have said, make your own mind map, make your own Google Doc, make your own way of note taking, and then use it to revise from as well. Each slide has all the icons on as well to help jog your memory, uses visual cues, help you retain key ideas, keywords, etc., etc. Again, please, if you need any help, comment below, email me as usual. Let's get into it. Now, my first question to you today is, how often do you do something deviant every day? Now, for a lot of people, that question might cause them to pull a face or to be quite aghast, because the common misconception is that deviance and crime are the same things. Now, remember, obviously, to be a crime, it has to break the law. Deviance just has to break social norms. And often when you talk to people about crime, they think of the most serious crimes, the most violent crimes, for example. So deviance, if it is a criminal act, it obviously is deviant, and hopefully none of you are committing those. But deviance is just anything which isn't normal. So that can be as simple as the clothes you wear, or changing your hairstyle, or any kind of behavior pattern or speech pattern or act which breaks norms. So again, remember, Becca would talk about it only being deviant if it's labelled as such, and other people need to do that. Whereas Merton, for example, would talk about the structure of society and anime, and what's acceptable and what's not. So looking at all the icons, you can see different representations around crime. But think about as well how these link to class, age, gender, ethnicity, sexuality, and think about as well how that's very different to deviance. And what is it you do every day that might be deviant? Here we have a very typical GCSE question, a 3-mark question. Identify one agency of formal social control and describe how it controls people's behaviour. So I'd like you to pause the video in a second, set a timer on your phone or device or whatever you're watching this on for 3 minutes, and have a go at writing an answer out in exam time. Below are a list of agencies of formal social control. So you may also want to look at these beforehand and decide, A, which one would I pick in the real exam, and B, how are they all ways of social control? How do they affect people's behaviour? Because you would pick one, obviously, and then explain that, and that would get you the marks. So pause the video now, have a go at under exam conditions, and then we'll look at a model answer next. Here's my model answer. So pay close attention to the structure as much as the content, because both are important for practice and for getting this right. So notice I've used the police here at the end of the list. Any of those on the list could have been used for the point there for 1 mark, just identifying those. And I've made that really explicit to the examiner. I've reworded the question. One agency of formal social control are the police. 1 simple mark. I've then explained what they do to control people's behaviour. So they arrest people, they charge them for various crimes. 2nd mark there. Then I've gone into a kind of evaluation really here. This means they control people's behaviour through their power to sanction. So again, I've used the key terminology. I've used 3 short sentences that shouldn't take too long to write in the exam, particularly when you're in full exam mode. And I've made it really, really clear for the examiner, and hopefully for yourselves there. Now you could have used any of those on the list for formal social control, as long as you've explained what they do accurately and how that affects people's behaviour, how it controls people's behaviour. You should get those marks there and get 3 out of 3. So again, work the basics here, because it's also good practice for your essay writing. You may want to retry the question with informal social control, reword it and have a go at the other side of the topic. You may want to reword it again for 1 or 2 more of those agencies, just so you've got some backups. Either way, practice, see how you go, compare it to yours, and let me know in the comments or on the Google Classroom. Now, we just mentioned informal social control. Obviously, this is the other side of social control and controlling people's behaviour in society. So you may want to think about, how do your peer groups get you to conform to their rules? Because the people you hang around with, the people who are your friends, you're going to behave in a certain way. You're going to talk to each other in a certain way. You're going to accept certain things as a group, particularly if you subscribe to Becker's interactionist ideas. But informal social control can work in many different ways. So it might be the people around you. It might be things like signs giving us hints of what to do. It might be the body language of other people, people's facial expressions. We might learn by copying each other. You might learn how to line up. I know the stereotype about Britain is that we like to queue. You might learn that sort of behaviour through observation and copying. So that's informal social control in many ways, because think about what happens if someone pushes to the front of a queue. There's endless examples when it comes to informal social control. So what you really want to think about is, do you understand it in a way that you can explain it? And I think all of you do, generally. Again, we've not really talked much about sociologists. We've mentioned Becker a couple of times now, and Merton. But you can even link informal social control to things like the class and gender deal. The unspoken expectations of women would be something that feminists would talk about. The unspoken expectations of class would link again to all of the functionalist theory, really. So you can bring this into many questions, into many essays, and if you are strong on formal and informal social control, a lot of your knowledge is going to be there, really. And then we're back into the skills that we've talked about. I hope you found this video useful. Again, if you need anything, please email me, comment in the Google Classroom, use the comment section below, and I'll do my best to help. Thank you very much for watching.